Hello friends, welcome to a new watercolor tutorial. I am Vanidas Mangathil. In this tutorial we will make this boat scene from imagination. I will explain the process throughout the video. If you have any doubt you can always ask me in the comment box below, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. Without further ado, let us go into the video. So here I am using an Indian handmade watercolor paper called pressed watercolor paper 300 GSM, and the brand is called Chitrapat. If you can use any cold pressed 100% watercolor paper for this particular work, right? I am starting with a rough drawing of the basic shape of a boat, and the boat is not in water, it is on the ground, and the idea is that it is kept for some repair or maintenance work. I usually like this kind of shape, the basic boat which is on the ground, right? The fin sort of things at the bottom, and that shape is interesting to me. So I am basically concerned about the basic shape of it. Okay, and since it cannot stand by itself, we are giving two supports, right? I think we need to have some sort of a structure inside. It could be, I've seen these kind of boats. These probably they are fishing boats, and they have some kind of a shelter, some kind of a structure. Okay, so this is just a rectangular box sort of a thing in perspective. I'm using a soft pencil here. I think it is around 8B or 6B, or it's a soft pencil. I use a softer pencil. One is because I wanted it should be captured well on the camera, so it should be dark, so I use a softer pencil. But I still use, even if I don't capture it, I use soft pencils, maybe 2B or 4B, because I draw loose, and I like the pencil marks of softer pencil. Okay, if it is a harder pencil, we may have to apply a little pressure, and it might damage the watercolor paper. So this is the basic idea. It's a boat, and it is kind of tilted for some additional interest, and it has a structure on top, and two people. Okay, I might add something else in the background. We will decide on when we progress through the painting. I'm using a round synthetic brush, and the brush that I'm using now is Escoda Prado number 8 size brush, and the watercolor that I'm using is Camel Watercolors. It's an Indian brand, so any brand of watercolor should be fine, and you don't have to worry about the proper exact colors. So any color that can give suitable tones, that should be good enough. Okay, don't wait for a specific shade of color to start your painting. You can always practice with whatever color you have. Okay, don't wait for any specific shade or hue of color. Okay, whatever you can always manage with whatever you have. Here I am using Vermillion red color. It's a kind of a warm red. It's a warm red color, and at the bottom I am planning to make slightly darker color. Okay, usually you will find that all these objects, they will have a little bit of a darker or polluted color as at the bottom area. Any for these boats or houses, I mean whatever it is, usually you will find that. And you also will find that as it comes to the bottom area, usually the amount of light hitting on it will be lesser, so you will find it darker. So I wanted to make the rest of the bottom area as dark color, so I am mixing some dark color. And to get the dark color, usually I mix whatever is the local color and a little bit of usually Paynes gray, or sometimes I make dark color by mixing crimson and Prussian blue, etc. So this is a dark color, so that gives some shine on the top of the boat and some good amount of contrast at the bottom area where the light is not hitting properly. See here, this is just a practice. This is not a full-fledged painting, realistic painting, because we didn't define any background. We are just practicing some major elements like boats and people, and we are not worried about the proper background at all. If you wish, you could, if you are thinking to follow it along, you can do the initial background works. It could be some sky and some distant land or water, and then once that layer is completely dry, you can go for this particular approach. I would usually suggest that if you are practicing watercolors, you can practice individual elements also, like the boats alone, the figures alone, and trees alone, right? So you can practice and gain confidence, and you can combine more than one element to make a complete painting, right? I think here this particular boat is the overall shape of it is reading well. I am still managing with just one brush, okay, and a little bit of cast shadow on the ground. I think the shadows we need little bit more of the shadow. We'll make it later. Okay, so I'm just seeing if this looks good or if I need to add anything more. Sorry for that dog barking background sound. I can't avoid it, right? Okay, so what next? Maybe I am planning for a background boat, and that boat I just wanted to do it in a single grayish color. Okay, it is in the background, so I am not worried about making it very vibrant. I'm just worried about the overall shape of it and sort of a silhouette, right? And I'm leaving paper white for the figures that I have drawn, so that the figures can have a little bit of contrast once we do the background boat. And we have to have some fair idea of how this boat shape looks like. It doesn't have to be perfect. So whenever you practice, don't worry if you're not if you don't know perfectly about the shapes and all. If you have some decent or fair idea, I think you can practice. You can practice drawing of the boat alone as a separate exercise. Drawing exercise you can do. You can take loose sheet of paper and do a lot of drawing practices, pencil drawing practices. Those drawing is the base. I would say that for these realistic looking paintings, your drawing skill is very important. So you have to do a lot of drawing practices and watercoloring practices, and this kind of imaginary practice which can develop your sense of composition, sense of visual thinking, etc. Okay, I think little bit of more shadows can help make it little bit more interesting. I think this looks reasonably well now, and now we can probably do the figures, some colors for the figures. If you're coloring the figures, you have to be a little careful, because the surrounding, the background boat may not be still very dry. So and there is a chance that the background color may get in touch with whatever color you are applying for the figures, and it could merge and it could pollute. So please be careful, and if you are afraid, I would say let the background fully get dry and then you do the figures, right? Sorry. Okay. And the color of the figures, it is little bit challenging. You can pick the apparel's colors of your choice, and I'm just making the torso and the head, the top of the head, and for the same thing for the other person. If you're liking this video and if you're finding it valuable, you're finding it useful, please do subscribe to my channel and press that bell notification. You will get notified for all my future videos in time. If you have any questions or suggestions, please write them into the comment box below. I will try to answer those points. Yes, I mean, I will try to include your suggestions as early as possible, as much as possible, and it will also help me in getting, taking this video to a wider audience. Okay. I think it is a good idea to have another figure a little far away. Okay. And this is just another kind of just a silhouette, another kind of just defining the figures in a very vague way. And maybe one more guy is sitting there underneath the far end boat. And yeah, I think that much of suggestion is good enough. What else we need to do? Think. If what I would suggest is that you pause the video and you can think of what you can do, what additional elements you can add, and what you would do differently, and to make the image look better. So try to apply your imagination. If you are following it along, you don't have to follow exactly like I did. This is a kind of a demonstration of an approach. You can apply, you can include your ideas into this painting. Okay, so to whatever tutorial I publish, you can try to think, make your own version of it, right? These are some these oranges are permanent orange color, watercolor, and it is directly picked up from the tube without diluting, and this gives the idea of these are mainly for the exposed body parts, okay, and the flags, of course, right? And maybe some shadows. I am still using the same brush. I think I have used the same single brush for all the things until now, and this can suggest a shadow now, and one more shadow for the background figure. These are just suggestive shadows. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think we are pretty much done now. It is reading reasonably well. Maybe what about adding a ladder or something like that? Be adding a little bit more interest there. It's a kind of a dry brush work. Okay, and maybe I will add one more figure on top of the boat, inside the boat probably, and it will be slightly smaller in size because it is a little bit far away from the nearby two figures. So this is going to be smaller in size, just the silhouette and the head maybe, right? And these figures you can practice standalone. Okay, so these figures are a little tricky and you need to do a lot of practice. If you are not getting the idea properly, try to do a lot of sketching practices. Go outside, take your sketchbook and a pencil or pen, and then start sketching people performing different actions. If you're scared of going outside and sketch, take the reference from photographs or videos. You can freeze some interesting video, crowded scene, and then you can practice those figures performing actions. Now little bit of a highlight on the shoulder and top of the head using white watercolor. So what I am using is a white watercolor picked up directly from the tube. Okay, and the surface is almost dry, and this the white highlight works better if it is done very judiciously, very carefully, and if it is done on a dry surface. Okay, if the surface is wet, if the paper is wet, white watercolor spread very quickly, and it may give totally different kind of results. I think we are pretty much done. I don't know if I need to give some touches here and there, just for some additional accents. Okay, I think this is the time that we can consider this as done, and we can stop. I hope you had something to learn from this. Please practice a lot. Practice these imaginary scenes as well as scenes from reference photograph. Practice a lot, and don't worry too much about precision, and don't worry about very convincing results and all. Try to explore it, try to get better at your brushworks and your visual thinking, etc. Okay, these lines that I am making now, that helps in getting or enhancing the sense of depth. These are some directional lines, I would say. That gives some kind of, that enhances the feel of perspective, and this can improve. This can improve the overall sense of depth. I think we are done with this particular tutorial. Hope this was informative. Please let me know if you have questions or comments or suggestions. I'll be more than happy to get back to you with my answers or my views. Okay, so thank you very much. Please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and press the bell notification, and I'll be waiting for your comments and feedback. So thank you very much, and we will see you in the next video. Bye bye.